This is the one everyone's been waiting for. The entire off-season's been building up to this moment right here, where 42 of One-Up's absolute best take to the track for 60 laps of the Daytona 500 to kick off 2024 of the One-Up Superstar Series here for this new season. And we've got a lot of big stories to talk about from the front of the field all the way to the back. 62 cars attempted to make this race. That's how high the demand was to get into this race. 42 are here to race, 20 are sitting at home watching to learn for future opportunities. This is the Daytona 500 for 2024. And alongside me to bring you the action is one of those 20 drivers that almost made the Daytona 500, but we're glad to have him here in the booth with us instead. James Ellison joins us for the 500 this year. It's great to have you with us. This has been what everybody's been looking forward to all off season, preparing for this moment that's going to change the life of one of these 42 drivers forever.
Oh, absolutely. And you take a look at where some of these people are starting. Like the front row of is definitely something to take into note. And you mentioned that my failed attempt to make it. I've just a quick note. I've already sent the bill for repairs to the 3-car to the guilty party. But getting back on note here, there's a lot to be excited for with this. Got a lot of drivers in new places, and you got a lot of the same people in the same places with different numbers, different looks. It's just there's a lot to note to pay attention to here.
Absolutely, with new rules packages to hopefully make the racing action just that little bit better. I expect this season to be even better than the one before it, and that would be saying a lot. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for the 5th annual Daytona 500. Chase Christ gets his first career pole. He set that on pole day 2 weeks ago. And Ryan Griffin, making his superstar debut, lines up alongside him. He also set his fast lap on pole day to lock in the front row. Behind them, we have our dual winners. Duke Ansack in the 83, Ryan Caggiano in the 81. They're going to be challengers today, I'm sure of it as well. And running at the top 5, a rookie on the same team as the 81 of Caggiano, the 61, Ignazio Napoli, the Italian, had a fantastic run in his dual race. We'll see if he can keep it up here. But we've got a lot of big names starting way back in the field. You've got Miles Mashburn, who had a strong season last year. He starts 37th in this race. Alongside him, the defending champion, Devin Fair, starts 38th. And it's not impossible to win from there, and I'm sure we're going to see those two feature in this race eventually. But we've seen it through all of Speed Weeks. These cars can handle 3-wide racing, nose to tail, for several rows deep, perfectly fine. It's once they stick that extra car in there and go 4-wide that things really start to get out of hand.
Oh, absolutely. And my team's misfortunes were because of 4-wide no good. So yeah, that's definitely something we got to hope that people can keep under control and have learned from the duels. But I will say, if we see them go 4-wide, well, the duels were a warning. They don't listen. Well, that's their fault. But we can only hope that they actually don't go that way.
So for one of these 42 drivers, their careers will be permanently changed by a win in the big race. And we'll decide that in 60 laps time. So with that being said, we have 42 cars ready to chase after that glory, and we're ready to bring you the action. It's the 5th annual Daytona 500 to kick off 2024. It's coming at you live next. Getting ready to make some history here at Daytona. A new car, a new era of one-up racing. Chase Christ and Ryan Griffin getting ready to get us started. The green flag in the air, and the Daytona 500 gets underway. Chase Christ gets a great start off the line. We'll see if he pulls in front of his Ford partner Ryan Griffin, because that outside line has proven to be quite good throughout Speed Week so far.
Yeah, he didn't pull all the way up. He pulled up kind of in the middle. He's trying to figure out which line to work with. As we see, looks like Anzac, they're already getting shuffled out of the way by Napoli, who we were just talking about.
Yeah, that Mercedes is going to be quite good here today. I feel it. If not that one, then surely his teammate Caggiano, who's now in the middle lane pushing the 83, who now dives to the inside in front of Napoli to try and take the lead away. Duke Ansack, and now Napoli forces his way to the inside to try and lead his first lap of competition. Duke Ansack, though, off of 4 to complete the first lap of the season. It's going to be the 83 by a hair out in front of the field to complete lap 1.
Just barely, and then of course Napoli's got to watch out because you got Nick Ortiz right there, and Ortiz looking inside already. So, and wow, they're 3 wide already. That didn't take long.
No, it did not. And you've got a couple of teammate pairs on that inside line. You got the Sanders Performance Autosport teammates. Julio Caesar being pushed by Lane Sanders, and then a couple cars behind them, got the JHM duo of Keon Daly in the 20, Jake McMillan in the 21. They're trying to make some headway in the early stages of this race, as we're already getting a bit of pack separation here. 2 packs starting to form up.
Yeah, you got 2 packs, then it looks like you got Aaron Hall stuck in the middle trying to figure out if he's going to be able to suck back up to the lead pack or if he's going to end up being the leader of the second pack, but well, right now, I think he's just glad that he's not in the middle of the hornet's nest in front of or behind, but something goes wrong, well, he could be in trouble. As we look at the back of the pack here, things are amazingly calm at the moment for the situation we're seeing here.
Yes, 3 wide, several rows deep, very calm. Although I see a little bit of 4 starting to brew here. Daniel Bouchard got underneath Napoli. Now, Napoli's leaning on Nick Ortiz a little bit. They're 4 wide for the lead off of 4.
Like I said, did we not learn from the duels? And they are definitely leaning each other here. We've seen what can happen when they start leaning on each other like this. If they make it out of this is going to be a miracle. And how they're not already wrecked, I don't know. But we'll see what happens as we see the Dr. Pepper machine up front. Well, not much longer anyway.
Julio Caesar to the point, and being pushed by his teammate Lane Sanders. Coming off of turn 2, they touch off a big one on the back straightaway. Napoli upside down, McDonald upside down, barreling over and over, end over end is Ignacio Napoli and Ben McDonald together down the back straightaway.
Oh my, and how did that not collect more? They were so the second pack was so close that the brakes on these new cars, at least as far as I could tell, are really good. But wow, that was unfortunate for Napoli. We were singing praise about his qualifying effort, and now he's going to be going to the infield care center, and his car is going to be going to the junkyard.
And Chris Lattimore in the 13 also looks to be involved in his first start in the 500, but miraculously, it doesn't look like anyone else was involved in this too badly. Maybe Daniel Bouchard got a bit of it in the 73, but the 2 main ones in this accident, Ben McDonald and Ignacio Napoli, they were running so close to the front, but that just goes to show you can be running anywhere in this field and disaster can still strike.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing right here, and looks like definitely not going to be seeing McDonald win this one.
No, he had such a strong car, though. He's going to be a force in his home track at Auto Club next week. But back up at the front of the field, we got the Spa cars leading 1-2 right now. This time it's Sanders ahead of Caesar, with Nick Ortiz, Rasha Mahendra, and Keon Daly completing the top 5. I would expect a couple of these guys, maybe about half or so, to get off sequence here and try a different strategy here, because these cars cannot make the entire distance on a single tank. I'm curious to see how many of them actually go for it here.
That's going to be curious, and looks like we got some lean in here. Oh, this is interesting.
The teammates split up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking here. That I guess Lane and Julio don't exactly have the same strategy in mind here, but who knows? Maybe we know how good Lane is at least attempting to make plans. Maybe they've got something in mind for the future of this race.
Well, either way, Julio Caesar takes the lead of this race, and as most of the field comes down pit road to assess their cars, make some adjustments, whatever have you not. It was that 4 wide. We keep talking about it. I think it was Bouchard that got up into Napoli and pinched the 12 into the wall, tipped him upside down. And then Napoli starts going on this series of barrel rolls down the back straightaway. Incredible. really. And look at this shot from a far angle. McDonald and Napoli pirouetting down the back straightaway in the grass. Incredible, really, that no one else was seriously involved in that. Looking at it from high above now, and it looks like Bouchard does get up into the 61 a little bit. That pushes him up into the 12, and they both go on their lids in front of the entire pack. This could have been so much worse than it was. We're so grateful only 2 cars were seriously involved in this. Maybe the 73 as well as the 13 as well. But for the 61 and 12, yes, their days are now done, but it could have been so much worse.
And it's such a miracle, and we saw Aaron Hall go for a little bit of spin as well, but I think that was just part of the avoidance.
But that is going to knock Ben McDonald and Ignazio Napoli out of the Daytona 500 on just lap number 4. That's a shame for those two. They had really good cars. They started up at the front, were running up at the front. McDonald actually led the previous lap. But now they've got nothing to show for it, except some torn up race cars and a deep points hole. But now we move on to the rest of this race. We still got a large portion of this race still to run. And Julio Cesar, the rookie. Actually, we got 2 rookies running first and second. Julio Cesar and Rasha Mahendra in the 42. So we're probably going to have about 2 more laps under caution, and then we'll see if these guys really learn their lesson or not.
Yeah, that's the question. Well, seeing 2 cars stumbling down the back straightaway should scare them out of racing so aggressively so quickly. Maybe save it for the white flag or something, or maybe 1 lap prior, but not this early.
Yeah, that was only lap 4, and they were already 4 wide. That just goes to show you they want to be up at the front leading laps to prove themselves as early season contenders, but there's a time and a place, I guess, and while we talk about Napoli and McDonald out of the race, some other names that have made it through somehow. We look now at Jake McMillan. He won this race last year, albeit for a different team, and now he's running right behind his teammate. Those two could be a force to be reckoned with. And talking of cars that have snuck their way through the carnage, you got Joshua Michaels in the 6. He's running 10th, and he started this race shotgun on the field 42nd today. So he managed to make it through all the carnage and sneak his way up into the top 10, as did Kev Shearer in the 24, Bronson Minnick in the 25. Those two have started really deep in the field as well, just in front of Joshua Michaels, and now they're running in the top 10. So some guys' misfortune is another few drivers' lucky break, as it looks like we're going to get the 1-to-go signal this time.
Yeah, that'll be great to see, because we can hopefully get a chance to see what these guys can and gals can and can't do in this race with this racing and everything. And maybe, just maybe, you talked about some people who made their way from the back to the front. I don't want to talk too badly about him, because might jinx him and have him getting annoyed at me. But I think it'd be kind of an interesting deal if Kev could pull this off, continue the momentum from winning the truck championship, and get the upset Daytona 500 victory. But we'll have to wait and see.
He does have his 2 teammates up in front of him, Daly and McMillan, 3rd and 4th. So if he can find his way up to the back of those 2, those 3 could make a run at the lead now that Cesar has lost his teammate. Looks like we got 40 cars still on this racetrack. They're all on the lead lap. Some of them a little more damaged than others, namely that 73. But I would expect this pack, we're going to have a pack form up fairly quickly at the start. The question is, how big is it going to be, and how many stragglers are going to be left behind?
Well, the ones with a little bit of damage probably are going to be the first stragglers that right off the bat, but who knows? We've seen stranger things happen with damaged vehicles before, so, well, we'll have to wait and see as we go through 3 and 4. We're coming to the green.
And keep in mind, with 2024, the new minimum speed rule at most of the high-speed tracks, if you're not within a certain lap time or a certain miles per hour average, the tower is going to call you to pit road and call you done for the day. So you better make sure those repairs you made on pit road are good, otherwise you could find yourself out of this thing.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you don't want to see someone like Bouchard have. But who knows? Maybe his team repaired it well enough. Maybe they didn't. We're going to find out here momentarily.
So coming off of turn 4, pace car pulls on the pit road, leaves us in the hands of Julio Caesar in the 00, first career start. He's going to lead us to the green flag with Rasha Mahendra hot on his heels. Look at him trying to weave his way back and forth, trying to find an opening.
Yeah, you got to give Mahendra credit here as he's trying to dives down to the inside of Caesar there. You've already got the 21 on the inside. They seem a little more hesitant right now to try to form the pack, but they're starting to get together now.
And notice how Shearer is starting to close in on his teammates. He's making the pass now on Patrick Smith. That is for 7. And look at how strung out this field already is. I have a feeling we're going to have a couple of packs form up here, and Bouchard's right at the tail end of this train. I don't know if we're going to wait and see if he's got enough speed in that thing to carry on. But back at the front of the field, Jake McMillan, with a push from Emma Kruger, powers his way to the lead.
Yeah, and Emma Kruger, we saw her start at the back. Well, not all the way at the back like Shearer, but back far enough that she had to do some work, and she managed to avoid all the incidents. Well, the one incident we've had so far, I should say. And now looking at her fighting for it in the top 10, well, about to lose some more spots, but that's the name of the game in this type of racing.
And there's Miles Mashburn in the middle. He started 37th. He's made his way to the front. Patrick Smith also started outside the top 30, and he's going to try and take the lead in his first race with Fingai Saitomi Motorsports. But he's got to look to his inside now, because here comes the 24, Kev Shearer to the point.
24 and 25, plus you got a past champion there in Christian Vargas coming in the picture. He didn't win it last year, but he still had a decent finish this season, and he'd love nothing more than to start this season better than how things have been before.
Yeah, he ended last year 14th in the points. I'm sure he'd love to do better in 2024. And he's the highest placed of the 3 Revolution Racing cars. They entered 4. Go ahead.
Sorry about that. I thought for a second that Vargas was going to peek to the inside of the 24 and 25 for 4 wide, but he thought better of it.
That he did, although he is taking a little peek down there. So if Minnick in the 25 washes up a little bit, maybe comes up in front of Kev Shearer, Vargas will try and make that move to the inside to try and take the lead for himself. However, Patrick Smith on the top lane does lead that lap. We've seen this outside line be a huge factor in the races we've seen so far. It decided to win for a couple of these races, and I fully expect it to do so again.
Absolutely could happen, and wow, they're holding steady station. You got the 24 and the 25 right there side by side, and then Smith up on the high side. They are just holding it steady right now, and it seems like for a little while we had a good rotation going in, and now it's like nobody can move at the moment.
Take a look at that 4th car on the inside lane, that bright yellow car, Zachary DeLillo. He was 61st in qualifying on pole day, but he raced his way in for the duel. He started 19th in this race. He's already made his way up into the top 10 in his series debut.
Yeah, that is a good thing to see. I'm sure his team is happy about this. They were probably sweating bullets a little bit there after qualifying, but they got in the race, and now here they are charged up. As we look at some of the stragglers toward the back here, I don't know how well this is going to go.
I think because those 4 are in a group, they'll be able to just barely make minimum speed. But as soon as this group starts to break up, Tower might take notice. As we go 4 wide for the lead, we've seen this go great before.
That was very close right there between the 24 and the 25 with Vargas, and I'm very scared right now.
I told you, didn't I?
2 rookies touching each other. Yeah, I've got 2 rookies right here.
I told you, didn't I? As soon as Minnick made the move to try and cover off Kev Shearer, you see it didn't work. But as soon as he made that move, Vargas would try and stick his nose in underneath, and that's exactly what he did. As we head down the back straightaway for lap number 14, look at how big this pack has formed up. Let's see what happens going into turn 3. Shearer gets hit!
And there they go.
By Minnick and Vargas. Big crash going into 3.
Yep, I saw that coming. And Oh, and we got someone rolling again. I just saw it. Who was
That's
that?
Stephen Gale in the 52. His day is done. That's the second and last of the Venta Motorsport cars in this race. Both of them now out. JD Martin, you saw with some significant damage in the 66. Ryan Soper had to race his way in through his duel. He did that. Now he's out of the race. Defending race winner in the 500, Jake McMillan, had some damage as well. Caution is out for the second time.
And now this is happening for the second time. Part of me is glad that my team missed, but at the same time, not so much because we missed because we got wrecked. But this, and poor Emma right there, she came all the way to the front. We were just talking, and now she's done for the day.
Zachary Fitzwater,
And
his hatred of the super speedways will likely continue. He's going to be done as well. Ryan Soper, we already mentioned. JD Martin, we already mentioned. And all these teams did such a good job preparing for this race. Bronson Minnick, he timed his way in on pole day. Now he's going to be out of the 500. Samad Ozkan with a lot of damage in the Mercedes. Ryan Caggiano with a lot of damage. Oh, and Lane Sanders, he missed the wreck, but something has gone wrong on this 87. He's going to be out of this race too.
well, I don't know if he missed the wreck. I thought I saw some right side damage there. He might have got scraped and then something else went wrong. But yeah, the hopes of a Spa 1-2 are, no pun intended, up in smoke here.
The team does still have Julio Cesar up in the lead group, but for team owner Lane Sanders, it's a game, set, match for the Daytona 500. As we see a lot of cars coming in the pit. Kev Shearer's got some damage, as does Rasha Mahendra. Sam Denoto with a little bit of right side damage on the 77. And we're keeping an eye on Sanders to see if he could possibly rejoin this race, or if the damage is too great. Lane Sanders out of the Daytona 500.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate. We saw Ryan Griffin on pit road. I don't know if it was just because he wanted to make sure he didn't that he had his tires are good, or he's sitting there. He must have got a little bit of damage.
Yeah, it looks like he did on the left-hand side of that car. But we've come to expect this. Oh, well, he looks like he's able to fix it fairly well. He'll rejoin the race. It's not going to be 100%, but it'll be able to continue. Christian Vargas out of the race as well. And get his season off started in a rough way. It all starts with Shearer and Minnick getting together, coming down into Christian Vargas. They slide ricochet back up the racetrack, and it just touches off a huge accident. Oh, and Fitzwater just no brakes on that thing. And Stephen Gale lands on top of Samad Ozkan in that wreck.
And now we see why Oskin's out of the race. He got landed on.
Oh, and Chris Lattimore got spun around. That's where Lane got his damage from. We saw that. Oh, and that's where Bronson Minnick got hit as well. So Chris Lattimore got spun around, and 2 cars tagged him. Both those cars now out. It looks like Vargas is actually fairly clear of the 24 and 25, but they come down into him. We've seen this a little bit before, and they just come right back up in the traffic. This is a big wreck, but we should be... Oh, my goodness. Fitzwater just went bowling into the 84. Despite all this, we should be glad more cars weren't involved like before.
And you saw it there. And, of course, we see the Lattimore incident, Sanders' damage.
I seriously think it was a mechanical issue on the 87, though. That did not look like severe enough damage from the fall out of the race.
Yeah, but it was more like it was like salt in the wound there, though, for Lane. And we saw at the beginning of the wreck, Shearer had it saved, and then, of course, like we saw, the ricochet just made the save all for naught.
So Chris Lattimore's race ends early. Joshua Michaels from last to first. He leads the Daytona 500 in his return to the Superstar Series. How about Justin Whitmer running second? He wasn't even supposed to race today, but he's filling in for the suspended Ricky Freeman Jr. Now he's running second right now in his first start in the Daytona 500. Patrick Smith looks like he came to pit road to diagnose an issue of some kind. And we're going to have about 27 cars restart this race whenever we do go back racing.
And you see right there, that Spotify number 5. You got Ronston Runkle there. There's a lot of drivers up here that, depending on the type of track, you may not normally see. You got the 9 there, James Silverfox, that had some good runs last year, and looking like he could be able to capitalize from other people's misfortune here.
And for Joshua Michaels, the race leader, he's now the only hope left for Robbers Racing, as both Miles Mashburn and JD Martin were eliminated in that accident. So, believe it or not, the only car left for Robbers Racing that can win the Daytona 500 is their new hire, Joshua Michaels. So, it's going to be interesting to see if he can hang on to this lead for the remaining 42 laps of this race. But the lights are out on the pace car, though. Good news is we'll go racing next time by.
And, with this misfortune, what a top 10 we have. We've already talked about the top 5. And you see defending champion Devin Fair there. He's been lucky to miss all the first minor incident and then the big one we just had. Duke Antec, Aaron Hall,
Caggiano's got
Dylan Young.
Caggiano's got some really big damage on that car. Same with the 29 and the 73. The reason they're up here, they did not pit under this caution flag. Zachary DeLello's the first one out of the pits, and he will restart in 12th. But that's my main concern, is if Caggiano, Young, and Bouchard don't get up to speed well, that could really split the pack up. We might only have 8 cars in the mix.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch, and I'm pretty sure if the pack gets split, everyone behind those wounded cars is gonna be demanding they get parked.
Well, they have a few laps to under green to try and make minimum speed. We'll see if they do that or not. But one-up does not take into consideration other people's misfortune. It only takes into account safety, and if these cars are causing an unsafe condition by racing so slowly, then they'll make the decision to park. But they do give them a few laps under green to prove that they can make it or not. So, we'll find out if that's worked or not, but for now, we're coming to the restart on lap number 19.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting to watch. Like we talked about already, the wounded cars, all the people who pit, who's gonna be able to get around those damaged cars, and what is gonna happen up here at the front with our current leader.
The green flag is back out, and the Daytona 500 resumes for lap number 19. Joshua Michaels takes off with the lead. Whitmer trying to hold off Austin Runkle, unable to do so. And that Jeffrey Finn guy, we haven't mentioned him yet today. He hasn't won the 500 before. But look at this stack up back here. Young and Bouchard not getting up to speed as well as the rest.
Now they're starting to... And you got some people going to the outside. You see DeLello there going to the outside.
Ortiz as well.
AJ Jones, Hall. Right now, the bottom lane is well, okay, now everything's shifted and the bottom lane's free and clear, but they already lost a lot of time.
Yeah, that they have. I think AJ Jones and Zachary DeLello, they might be able to catch up to this pack, especially considering that they're strung out as much as they are. And Austin Runkle has made a move for the lead on Joshua Michaels. Give the lead to the 5 car for the first time today.
That is good to see from him, and with the way things were last year with all the driver situations, he stepped into one of my trucks for a few times and did a pretty good job. It's good to see him being able to, despite it being draft racing, being able to do something here at Daytona.
You see a couple more cars have cleared Young and Bouchard, like Mark Davey, Rasha Mahendra, Ryan Griffin, but we've got a lot of cars still stacked up behind the 29 and the 73. They've got to be taking a look at this, because if they're going that slow in a pack, I can't imagine they're going to be going much faster by themselves.
Yeah, I can guarantee that those drivers stuck behind him are demanding the one-up officials park them now, but like you said, the officials got to give them a few laps to see. Although, like you said, if they're this slow to holding up everybody in a pack, that's definitely not a good sign for when they're not in a pack.
But how about the move from Devin Fair from 38th to 2nd in this race? In just a third of the distance, Devin Fair could be in contention to win his first 500, as it looks like Zachary DeLello is going to be able to catch on to the back of this group. AJ Jones already has. So it's going to be interesting. Stojanovic has not caught the lead group. Zayden Davidson hasn't either. But they're undamaged. That's the good news. The bad news is they're well off the lead group, as Rungel and Fair go side by side for the lead.
I was just going to say, the bad news for Runkle is past champions here, and he wants to lead. But we already discussed that. As this pack is going to, and you see AJ Jones coming up there, bringing Michaels back up toward the front with him, or until just now.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to have 9 cars in this lead group. James Silverfox and Duke Anzac hanging on at the tail end. DeLello is going to try and fight his way past the 9. So, a lot less cars than we were expecting, or rather hoping, to be up at the front at the Daytona 500 at this stage. But I'm sure they're going to provide us some great racing as AJ Jones comes up the middle with no help to take the lead.
Yeah, but he's got to look out Michaels with Finn Guy, who would probably rather not be helping that 6 right now. Would rather be moving past him, but that's a little bit of draft here. As you see DeLello, we talked about it. He caught a sniff of the draft, and he's here, and he's determined.
And now he's got his team owner in the same pack as him, Devin Fair, right there as well. This is going to be a great day, I feel, for Fair and his race team, if they can hang on for the remainder of this race. But they're still 3 wide for the lead. Michaels, Jones, and Devin Fair up top.
Yeah, you talk about it being a good day for Fair and his team. I think DeLello has a better car than the 3 wide is letting him show right now, as he's trying to find anywhere he can go.
Thing is, if Runkle moves down a little bit, DeLello could draft right up to the back of the 51, and they could make some noise in the top group. We've seen that top group pay dividend. There goes Runkle to the bottom.
That
gives DeLello the opportunity, as we're looking now through the rest of the field to see, well, this pack's starting to form up a little bit, actually. They might be able to make something happen here, because the group up front is a little less organized than this group is. Maybe we could see them start to catch up bit by bit.
Perhaps, if they can get organized and stay in a single file line, but you never know how it is. Single file line is better than a half organized small pack, but there's some really good cars up here.
We'll see what happens, because as they cross the line now, they gained a little bit. So, or rather, they didn't lose any. So, I don't know. They should be able to get organized a bit more, but I would expect them to make a little headway. Maybe not quite completely catch up, but they should make a little bit of ground as AJ Jones goes for the lead.
Yeah, Jones wants that lead, and he wants it now. And he'd love it if he could stay there, but he knows that even in this small pack, that's a tall order.
And the only friend he's got up there is that 6 car of Joshua Michaels. They're the only 2 Chevys in the lead group. Now that Duke Anzac has started to fall back, you see him there. And I don't think he's going to be able to keep up that well. However, this second pack has gained 0.2 of a second on the front group. So they're starting to organize a lot better. Maybe they can make a run at it. Who knows?
Yeah, there is a little bit of side-by-side action, but they are still working the draft quite well here, and I would definitely not put it past them to make some headway, especially if Anzac and Silverfox can not hold them up.
Yeah, and I expect that group back there to pick up the 9 and the 83, and with those 2 cars in their group, that should be able to boost them up the order quite nicely. But Michaels and Jones have been swapping the lead back and forth for the last few laps, putting a stranglehold on this race, really. No one else has been able to come up and challenge, except for maybe right now, because here comes Runkle with a push from DeLello. And they're coming up to lap Bouchard and Young here. I don't think they're going to get that chance, though, because one up is starting to call radio into the 73 and the 29 teams.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate that that's happened for those 2, but it's part of racing sometimes, especially with the new rules for this league this year.
So Young and Bouchard now out of this race for failing to meet minimum speed. They'll have to try again at Auto Club next week. But notice Duke Anzac and James Silverfox, they have been caught by the second pack, and now they, as you see now, Young and Bouchard pulling into the pits and pulling it behind the wall. They're going to be out of the race. But this group of 7, I think they're going to get caught bit by bit by the group behind them. They've got more cars in that group, and they're more organized. More cars generally is better. We'll see how much they gain on this lap. Well, they lost a little time there because they had to pick up the 83 and the 9. So I would expect them to regroup and then make a run at it.
And see right here, DeLello, he's here, and he's got his boss behind him. So this is going to be awesome to see right here. If the driver team owner tandem can work, as this could be the best bet for DeLello right here.
Unfortunately for him, they've got 4 cars on that outside lane, and a lot of them are quite fast. So that means we got 4 wide in the second pack. This is
no.
we haven't seen this work well before. Coming for the tri-oval. It's not going to work well now either. They're in the wall. Spletzer and Silver Fox into the wall, and that brings out caution for the 3rd time today.
And it looked like we got a 3rd car involved there. I can't tell who that was.
I think it was the 83.
Last year I'd have been in. I saw the red and white car. They were getting involved a little bit.
That was Stojanovic in the 98 too.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's unfortunate for him, but I think he'll be able to get away with minimal damage unless he had more previously.
But while that does bring out caution for the 3rd time in this Daytona 500 at the halfway lap, that does allow that second pack to catch right back up to the leaders, and now that we're past halfway, anyone who pits now can make it to the end.
And that's going to be an important thing to pay attention to. And of course, these guys, they're not going to be happy that they have to fight with more people now.
No, but this group right here, they gotta be pretty happy about it, because now they got a shot at winning this thing.
Yeah, that's going to be big, especially because we saw it right there. We talk about Julio Cesar being Spa's only hope now with team owner Lane Sanders out of the race. So let's see what we'll be able to see what he can do now that this pack's going to be all one big group again.
So Joshua Michaels retakes the lead. We're under caution for the 3rd time on lap 31. And I would expect the majority of the field to pit here because they would be able to make it the entire rest of the race. However, we may see a couple guys who pitted under the last caution try and stretch their gas to the very end of the race. So we'll see how many do that, but I would expect a lot of people to take the safe bet and pit now.
You better hope that they take the safe bet. Otherwise, we're going to have a very interesting finish to this race because people who pull the strategy, of course, you see DeLello staying out, so
he's going to take a gamble and try it. And Sam Donotto looks like he's going to join them. And so DeLello and Donotto stay on the racetrack. I think one more car is going to join them out there. I'm trying to see which car that is. It's the 15. Our pole sitter, Chase Christ. He's going to stay on the racetrack.
Yeah, he hasn't had the best race. It hasn't been terrible. He's been able to avoid incidents, but he hasn't been up at the front since the start. So,
and keep in mind, he does have a little.
Take that chance.
Keep in mind, he does have a little bit of damage on that 15 as well. That's been holding him back. So it was Keon Daly who stuck his nose in there, and now they're banging doors. Silver Fox is in a very unfortunate position between Spletzer and Daly. They both come up the track into the 9, and oh yeah, it was the 98 that got involved as well as the 83. So we were both right in that regard. It looks like the 86 of Spletzer took the worst impact of it, but that's a fairly minor incident as far as Daytona is concerned. Now we go on board with Duke Anzac, who is on the outside of this race. And it looks like so far so good, not anymore, because now he's got a couple of dodges up in his grill, and now they're all into the wall.
Yeah, that there's just nothing that Duke could do there, because they came up right in front of him. He was right there. He couldn't hit the brakes there or anything. It just real unfortunate timing for him.
But he is still running in this race, albeit at the very back of the line. So actually, no, James Silverfox is at the very back of the line. So, but Chrissy Spletzer is out of the race now with that damage. Was too much to repair. We're going to have 24 cars left in this race to decide it, and that's if they can all make minimum speed.
Yeah, that's going to be the key thing. Silver Fox and Anzac didn't seem to have that much damage, but looks can be deceiving. We've seen it before.
We saw it with Bouchard and Young. They didn't look like they had a lot of damage, but they were like 5 seconds off the pace. More than that. So, like you said, looks can be deceiving, but speaking of looks, it looks like we're going to have about a lap and a half until a restart. Hopefully it's the last one.
One can hope. For past the halfway, I would love to see this thing go green, but I've learned to not hope too hard in these kind of races.
So as they run right now, Zachary DeLello is your leader. He stayed out under this caution, did not come down pit road like everyone else. Sam Donato stayed out. Chase Chris stayed out. They run 1, 2, 3. And the first car fresh out of the pits is Austin Runkle in 4th. Then you have Joshua Michaels 5th, Nick Ortiz, Jeffrey Finguy, Justin Whitmer, Jeff Bolton. We haven't talked about much in this race. He's been in a couple of these accidents, but he's up to 9th now. And Devin Fair completes the top 10. Although I would expect more challengers to contend for this win than just these 10.
Oh, absolutely. You got so many good cars that are sitting outside the top 10 right now, just waiting for the green flag to wave again so they can show what they have. I would not put it past some of these guys to try some things. I mean, and of course, we got the other cars that have a little bit of damage, like Brayhan Stojanovic. Well, he got a little bit of damage, but he might be okay. We might not. Well, again, like everyone else that's gotten hits today, we might have to wait and see.
But the lights are out on the pace car. We'll have 1 lap to go, and then we'll go back racing with 26 laps to go in the Daytona 500. And it looks like we've got 24 cars still in this race. Which one of them will etch their name into the big trophy at the end of this day? Zachary DeLello's leading in his series debut nonetheless. But keep in mind, he is the defending Nitro National Series champion. And the last time that series raced on a super speedway, he went to victory lane.
Yeah, that is something to note, because he may be in a different series now full-time, but he'd love to go back-to-back on super speedway wins regardless, despite the difference in car and series.
But he hasn't lost any talent, and that's the key to running well at Daytona. Plus, he's got another Toyota in Sam Donato right behind him. But I would keep an eye out for those 2 Fords behind him. If Chase Christ can keep up with these guys, he's got a teammate right behind him, so that could be a force.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see Chris and Runkle work together, but you talk about DeLello and Donato, that I think for the time being, they may have to work together in order to keep those two Fords behind them, because you talk about it, both of them are really fast. I mean, Chris didn't get the pole for nothing, and he has a good Napa Ford, and that 5 is really fast too. We've seen it.
Coming through turns 3 and 4, Zachary DeLello is your race leader of the Daytona 500. He's led a handful of laps under this caution. We'll see if he can keep leading afterward. We've got just over half the cars that started this race that are still running. Hopefully, they all can finish this race, because we want to see as many of these cars cross the finish line as possible. Pace car pulls off. DeLello takes us under the green flag. We're back to racing once again.
And you see Finguy making the move high. They're starting to spread out a little bit. Donato lagging back. I don't know. It might just be because of how fast the 08 got going, but we see some moves for position already back behind him.
Yeah, it looks like the 15's not able to keep up quite as well. He's going to be able to make minimum speed, most likely, because he's not that far off the pace, but he is a few miles per hour slower than those around him. And at a place like Daytona, 2 or 3 miles per hour could make the difference.
Yeah, you see all these guys going on the outside here. You got Michaels, you got a few others here going by. You got Bolton, and DeLello and Donato, for the moment, they are practically gone.
But you have Runkle and Finguy clear. Now Michaels and Whitmer are through. Bolton and Stojanovic are through. Julio Caesar, Devin Fair maybe going to try. Oh, but...
nope.
If Devin Fair and Chase Chris, they have a bit of a history. That's not going to help things very much. But Now Nick Ortiz comes through, as does Mahendra, Davidson, and Daly, along with Mark Davey. So the only ones that have yet to get out from behind are AJ Jones, who makes his way down now in front of Ryan Griffin, and Devin Fair, who should get through on this back straightaway.
Yeah, he's going to go high. Jones is going to go low. Where's Griffin going to go?
He's going to go low as well.
15? Well, here comes Chris trying to stop him. Or just, I don't know if Chris has can keep control of that car, because he's been up and down all over the place.
And I don't know if the 02 is as fast as the others around them. They might try and draft together, the 15 and 02. Remember, they started on the front row together, but now they've both got a little bit of damage and maybe off the pace a little bit. But back at the front of the field, Zachary DeLello continues to lead this thing. Jeffrey Finguy moves up to second with Austin Runkle behind him. Now it's side-by-side for fourth between Donato and Justin Whitmer in the 96.
I got to give a big shout-out to Whitmer here. He's doing a really nice job, all things considered. He's taking a great advantage of this situation. I mean, but look now, here comes that 00 Caesar.
And a note about this 96 car, with Ricky Freeman Jr. watching this race from home, most likely, I don't know if he's going to be either proud of his protege that he's running up in the top 5 or annoyed because this car is very fast and he could have been the one trying to win the Daytona 500 in it.
Yeah, but I hate saying this, hearing this phrase, and I hate saying it, but it is what it is. So we'll see what the 96 can do with the substitute driver. It's like you said, it is bad fast.
And it looks like we're going to have a lot more cars in the mix for victory than we had originally. And look we got some new challengers up at the front. Julio Caesar's up here, like you said. Nick Ortiz is here. Brehan Stojanovic in the 98, despite his damage from that last caution. He's made his way up to the front. And AJ Jones leads that second pack. That 31 is trying to pull 5 more cars up to the front with him. I would not be surprised if he did that.
Well, right now it looks like he's a little faster than the others behind him because of the draft ahead of him. And here we go, Donato trying to steal a spot from Caesar and Finguy up high. But
they're leaning on each other, Caesar and Finguy. Finguy, one of the most experienced drivers in the field, compared to Julio Caesar with this being his first start. So a lot of difference in experience, but they're both racing for the win in the big race.
Yep, and here comes Jones. Finguy thought about trying to duck behind Caesar, but Caesar's still not quite giving him enough gap. And this is getting interesting, and we're getting to be about 20 to go next time around.
And we got some more contenders up front. Mark Davey in the 97. He's a past winner of the 500. Devin Fair's caught back up. Keon Daly making some moves. Joshua Michaels. Jeff Bolton's up there. We got a lot of good drivers in the mix for the win here. And some of them could be getting their first win.
You got a lot of people here looking for their first victory, and quite a few who want to get another one, like Finguy, Fair. I think they're one of the very few who don't have a win in the Superstar Series.
I'm just gonna list right now in this entire pack which is 14 cars strong. All the drivers that have wins in this Superstar Series: Jeffrey Finguy, Sam Donato, Nick Ortiz, Devin Fair, Mark Davey, Jeff Bolton. That is it.
So about half this pack has wins. The other half are looking to join them.
And right now we've got a new leader, Justin Whitmer in the 96. I tell you, I got a feel for Ricky Freeman Jr. I know he's suspended for a few weeks, but he's got to be both proud and annoyed because he could have been up in this lead group as well.
We don't know. We'll never know how things would have played with RJ in this car, but I got to imagine he's fighting himself on how to feel about this as Julio Caesar tries to get by Finguy for the lead here.
We should expect to see Freeman back at either Worldwide Technology Raceway in 2 weeks or at Circuit of the Americas the week after that. But for now, it's Justin Whitmer behind the wheel, and he is pushing the crud out of Jeffrey Finguy, trying to get the 92 out into the lead, and so far it's working.
And you see Donato taking a peek. I think he's fed up with the fact that Caesar's not getting anywhere in front of him. But I don't know. They've got some good cars. You got Fair and Stojanovic behind Denoto. They can get that Dodge out of the way. I think I might have to watch out for that trio of Toyotas.
And now Devin Fair has both the cars he owns in this race right in the group with him, Stojanovic and DeLillo. So, well, now the teammates, DeLillo and Stojanovic, they're working together. And, well, it looks like Ryan Caggiano is going to be the next one to be bit by the minimum speed rule, and 81 done for the race.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Caggiano. I bet, just like everybody who made this race, they had high hopes, and now he's going to be done for the day. And we see right here, new challenger. Haven't talked about Ortiz going for the lead just yet until just now.
And another thing to note, as Caggiano cycles around one last lap before pulling it in, he was the last Mercedes running in this race. Now they're all out of the race. But now we have all three of the Louisville Motorsport Hondas running in the top four right now. You got Ortiz and Whitmer running on the bottom nose to tail, and then you have Mark Davey up high pushing Jeffrey Finlay. So Louisville Motorsport's having a great run. Remember, this is what used to be Finish Line Motorsports a season ago. They rebranded, went to Honda, and they haven't lost a step. They're all running in the top five.
Yeah, that switch to Honda has definitely not hindered them one bit. Yeah, I'm sure Finn guy wishes it is, because he's kind of surrounded by them right now. Plus the Chevy of Jones.
Yeah, AJ Jones has been a constant presence up here, and we're coming to 15 laps to go. These laps have been flying by pretty quickly. And now Ortiz tries to clear Finn guy. He's not quite clear. So, and now I think what's going to happen, Finn guy's going to clear going in the 3 or get close to it. And now the Louisville cars are blocking every single lane.
Yeah, with the exception of Finn guy ahead of the 97 of Davey, but that could change if Davey could get Finn guy out of the way. But that right now, that 92 really doing the best he can to break up the Louisville Motorsports fun.
And for all Jeffrey Finn guy has done in the Superstar Series, and trust me, he's done a lot. He is the one thing he hasn't done. Well, two things. One, he's yet to win a series championship, which he hopes to fix this season. And another thing he hopes to fix today, he has not won the Daytona 500 before. So he's hoping he can fix that right now. But Nick Ortiz comes up to cover him off. Now the 91 leads the outside.
Yeah, and then you got AJ Jones bringing up the middle now, as it's still 2/3 Louisville Motorsports, and then Team Duke right there in the middle.
But look at AJ Jones surging ahead in that 31 car to take the top spot, and he comes up now to block Ortiz.
What a good feel-good story this would be for AJ Jones and for Team Duke, given the fact that Duke himself hasn't exactly been having a good day.
And their other teammate, Chris Lattimore, is out of the race.
I think Duke and Chris would both be happy to see the last hope for their team to be able to hold on and win this one. But he's got a lot of potent cars behind him, and you see Ortiz, one of them right now, trying to steal the lead back.
And there's a lot of laps still remaining. We're coming to what I believe to be 13 laps to go now. And Ortiz is going to take the lead here from AJ Jones. He gets him at the line. 13 laps to go.
And looking back here, you see at the 6, Joshua Michaels has lost the draft.
As has Jeff Bolton as well in the 38.
But the good news is they're not going to lose too many more spots at this rate.
However, you notice we panned to the back of the field. We got a group of 4 or 5 cars running together. They're running about 2 seconds off the pace, which is not enough for them to be parked, but it is going to be enough for this group to catch them before the end of this race.
That group could be the determining factor in who out of this group wins the race, because we saw at that quick little glance we got, they are side by side, and these guys are side by side. This could get interesting here very soon.
12 laps to go from the World Center of Racing. AJ Jones leads the outside. Nick Ortiz leads the bottom. Remember, Ortiz has a teammate behind him in Justin Whitmer, and another teammate, Mark Davey, pushing in that outside lane. All of the Louisville Motorsports cars are in this group, and they've got a very good chance of bringing Honda their first win in one-up competition.
first race in one of in the Superstar Series, at least. That could be a way to make a statement of and say we have a ride and we are going to win and we have what it takes.
But we still have 11 laps to go between now and the checkered flag. AJ Jones for the Chevrolet camp leads the way on the outside. This car, once it gets out front, it gets really hard to dislodge him from the top spot. AJ Jones has got a really good car, but you could say that pretty much about all of these cars, honestly. As every single one of them, I believe with the exception of Brahan Stojanovic and Keon Daly, everyone else has been up front at some point in this race.
Yeah, but you got to give Stojanovic credit. Took a little bit of damage in the third incident that brought out the third yellow. Excuse me, and he is still hanging very strong right here. I think it helps that the damage he took is not being affected by the draft because he's behind all these other cars.
And look at DeLello. He's trying to forge his way on the inside with no help. It's going to be interesting to see if he can make that work, but now he's got Austin Runkle and Nick Ortiz to work with. He should be fine. But AJ Jones, with 10 laps to go between him and his first career win, although those group of lap cars that I mentioned earlier, they're only about half a straightaway ahead now.
Yeah, that's going to make it interesting as they're getting single file here up in the first three. Oh, I spoke too soon. Here comes Finn Guy back for the lead once again.
Finn Guy underneath AJ Jones. Who does Mark Davey go with? Does he go with the... I would have expected him to move down in front of his two teammates so they could all get a run, but Mark Davey knows how powerful that outside line is, and he wants to work with the fastest car here, and right now that looks to be the 31.
And I see DeLello moving behind his team owner in front of Caesar. If that high line gets moving with Jones in front, we could see Fair playing into this again.
Yeah, it's Jones, Davey, Fair, DeLello on the outside lane. Finn Guy, Ortiz, Whitmer, Runkle, Denoto on the inside. And now Runkle makes a move on Whitmer. They're 3 wide for 6th as they come off a turn 4 now to take 8 laps to go in the Daytona 500.
And this is good. This is starting to get interesting because, like you talked about, 8 to go. It's go time. You got to put everything you have into these cars to get going. And it looks like our next victim of losing the draft, Keon Daly there. Although that might change when this little pack ahead of the leaders gets caught.
Oh yeah, and it's you see William Brock, James Silverfox, Patrick Smith, Aaron Hall, and Duke Ansack. Those 5 are going to get caught imminently by this lead group. And the question is, where are they going to go and who's going to get through them the best? Here comes AJ Jones trying to make his way around the outside of Brock. He takes Jeffrey Finn Guy with him, but they're going to get held up by the 9.
And this is going to really shuffle things. And these lap vehicles are side by side. These guys, some of these leaders have got to be annoyed right now because they're hindering their chances of getting to that 31.
And here's Chase Chris, the pole sitter. He is going to fall a lap down to this group as well. But AJ Jones is driving on that. AJ Jones has been on the top lane the entire day. Now he's passing everyone on the inside to take the lead back from the 92.
Problem he has now is he's the only one of the lead pack. He could get swallowed up here real quick once some of these other leaders get through these lap cars.
But the good news is, the car he just lapped, that's his teammate. And I would not be surprised if that 83 plays defense to get this 31 to victory lane, especially now that we have only 6 laps to go.
And Duke's kind of sitting in that car going, my car might be wounded, but man, if I can help AJ win, I'm going to do it. But, you know, He's holding up he's hanging in there in the front just enough. I don't know how this is going to play out. Looks like Fair might be able to get by Chris if he can move him.
Yeah, and these two are having adding more history to their already existing history. But Fair and Ortiz look like they're going to work their way past the lap traffic. Look at the lead AJ Jones has built up over the 51 and 91. Next one I expect to break through will be Mark Davey in the 97, coming to 5 laps to go.
These 3, Fair may be a different manufacturer than Ortiz and Davey, but they may have to work together and be temporary temporary allies just to get to that 31, because if they keep fighting, this is A.J. Jones' race to lose.
And sure enough, right there, they go side by side. Although, I think what Ortiz is doing, he's pulling down to the inside and hoping that Mark Davey catches him in a hurry. These two have been teammates for several years now. They know how each other race. And I would expect the 97 to go with the 91 and to try and get Louisville Motorsports a 1-2 in the biggest race of all, coming to 4 laps to go this time.
And they are there. They have found Jones and so is Fair. This is where if you're AJ Jones, you have to be able to keep an eye on the drivers behind you. Although doesn't look like that's going to do any good, as here comes Ortiz.
Here comes Ortiz with a push from Mark Davey. They're teaming up, and Devin Fair slides in line with them. They're gonna breeze their way past AJ Jones. This is gonna be a big moment in the race right here. Ortiz, does he pull up in front of the 31, or does he stay with his teammate? Doesn't look like he's doing either of those things at the moment because he's holding up that middle lane. Now Devin Fair moves down to push Mark Davey to the second position past AJ Jones. And don't look now, Austin Runkle making a move, as is Justin Whitmer. 3 laps to go.
The 5 car in 5th place. If these guys get to fight, he could do something here. And they keep fighting side by side. Whitmer still just barely got a draft, and although I don't think Duke wants to help him, he might get a little bit of a boost before. But I think it's just between these 5 up here.
Nick Ortiz looking for his first win in the Daytona 500. Mark Davey looking for his second. AJ Jones and Austin Runkle, they're looking for their first wins ever in the 1-Up Superstar Series. They're coming to 2 laps to go this time, but right now, it's a Louisville Motorsports 1-2 at the front. Which one of these two is going to make some... Oh, when they almost made contact. Runkle and Fair coming to 2 to go.
And we have a caution now. The race will be over no matter what brings it out. So these guys have got to play it safe, because even though there's 3 wide, all that 3 wide is doing is allowing Whitmore to start catching up to them. And if they're not careful, they could allow Louisville Motorsports to go 1, 2, 3 here.
But here goes Mark Davey. He decides the time is now to say teammate stuff's over. We're going for the win in the Daytona 500. And Mark Davey, he wants his second win in the race, but he's run out of momentum. Here comes the 31, back to the bumper at a 91. We're coming to the white flag in the Daytona 500.
And Davey may not get to fall very far, because here comes Whitmer to help him out. That the outside line has the numbers.
And now all 3 Louisville cars, nose to tail, 1, 2, 3 on the inside line. The white flag flies. We've got 1 lap to go. Now Nick Ortiz trying to block every which way he can, but I don't think it's going to be enough, because now AJ Jones is going to force his teammates to help him win the 500.
I do not think that Davey and Whitmer want to do that, but what choice do they have when
I think what they're
Jones
doing, I think they're backing up to give Ortiz a better chance at it.
Well, here's where it's going to be. Will Runkle try to make a move to the inside?
I don't think he's got the time.
Push?
They're coming through 3 and 4 for the final time. It's going to be a drag race to decide the 5th annual Daytona 500. AJ Jones, Nick Ortiz coming to the line at the Daytona 500. It's AJ Jones getting his first career win in the 5th annual Daytona 500 by 2/100ths of a second. That is unbelievable stuff. Despite Louisville Motorsports' best efforts, they have been thwarted by Team Duke and AJ Jones in a race for the ages right there.
Like I said, Duke was hoping for this. I know Chris was watching he might have even been watching from the 31 pit box, but AJ Jones gets it done. Team Duke, what a story this is for the start of the season. 2/3 of the drivers either out of the race or wounded. The one that got away from all the carnage gets it done.
And not only that, it's Team Duke's first win ever in the Superstar Series. So, great stuff from them. And despite Louisville Motorsports not winning the Daytona 500, they still put all 3 of their cars in the top 5. That's something worth being proud of, I'm sure. Austin Runkle, the only outlier, in 3rd. Devin Fair comes across 6th. Great start to his title defense there. And right behind him, 4 seconds back, Zachary DeLello in his series debut leads his teammate home 7th and 8th. Jeffrey Finguy, great start to the year for him in 9th, and Keon Daly in his return to the Superstar Series gets a top 10 finish. But today belongs to A.J. Jones, the winner of the Daytona 500, and now he's in a great position going to Auto Club next week to make a really good season out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got momentum on his side. We've seen that as the year went on, Team Duke was doing really, really good at just about every track as we went on. And I honestly expect that at least for AJ Jones, that could very well put him in a position to lead his team, his teammates, and his teammate and boss to greatness this year if things play out right.
So from James Ellison and from myself as well, we say congratulations to A.J. Jones, who for the first time in his 1-Up Superstar Series career can celebrate. He is a winner at the World Center of Racing, and this will carry with him the rest of his life. Congratulations to him. We'll see you again at Auto Club Speedway, but for now, it's A.J. Jones, winner of the 5th Annual Daytona 500.